Jimmy McAllister found the net. Goal for Wednesday.
Terrific goal by Sheffield.
Chris Waddle, is he going to have a crack?
Oh, he does, and it's goal. Still Glenn Wheeler! Wednesday! Is there time for a winner?
There were calls before the game for action. Close to 5,000 fans marched through Hillsborough Park towards the ground. Once inside, the whistle protest took hold for the first 5 minutes, and then sadly and quite predictably, Hillsborough fell back into its general malaise and apathetic self. On the pitch, the players worked incredibly hard, but ultimately succumbed to a side who had invested in their squad and had a proper pre-season. I get the sense that this may become a running theme. Welcome to the Wednesday Till I Die podcast. I am Matt Johnson, and while James is off on a well-earned break in Greece, back by popular demand is a Mr. Paul Pashley. Hasta la vista, baby! Firstly, Paul, how are you, mate? You okay?
Apart from the obvious, I'm good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, I'm not too bad, I'll be honest. I'm better than I was this time on Monday when I could barely fucking speak.
Oh, I know. Did you get a few rounds of golfing, though, I believe? You've
Yeah, of course, mate. Yeah. Voice doesn't stop that, does it? Voice doesn't stop that.
No. I know how you feel. I know. Well, I'm equipped tonight for calming methods. I've got a diffuser. I thought it might help with, obviously, the current situation. So I've just turned the sticks around, and hopefully that'll diffuse.
I was just going to say, Paul, I hope you're not drinking that and there's not vodka in it, and it is actually for calming measures. Yeah,
I might be at the end of the season if it carries on like this.
Paul, I'm going to ask you the question that James asked me last week, off arguably the best away day that I've ever been. What was your overriding emotion come full time yesterday?
Beating anger. Anger was the first one. Absolute frustration. I felt sad. I felt really sad. I felt like we've got a lot of lads that are working really hard. They've got different limitations in the squad. I felt they all gave what they could do. And I felt that we were very, very lacking in the last 25 minutes. And I feel that a lot of teams are going to go, you know what? No matter what they play, last 20 minutes, we'll turn it up. And I was angry as well because Stoke aren't that good. And it really annoyed me, some of the chances that they were having, Matt, I'm going, and they're all going, oh, and I'm going, absolute, come on. If we'd had half a decent defence, you wouldn't get anywhere near that.
Paul, I'm with you. I'm going to get out ahead of this, and Stoke thoroughly deserved their 3-0 win yesterday, and congratulations on their 3 points. I am very excited because I know that there is a lot of positivity surrounding Stoke at the minute through their fans, which rightly so. They finished no higher than 14th since they've dropped out of the Premier League. What I would say is I'm very excited to see how they fare against what you would anticipate to be the top 8 sides in the league, because I agree with you. Took their chances well. Mm-hmm. Defensively, a side that hasn't had a pre-season and looked to be struggling to create yesterday, I felt created and fashioned at least 2 gilt-edged chances that they should have taken. So, yeah, again, I can't take anything away from the scoreline. Stoke thoroughly deserved to win because they took their chances and we didn't. But I am excited to see how they are. But yeah, I thought it would be an interesting question to start because the fan base came away from Leicester obviously last week all enthusiastic and passionate about everything. And we can do it. Oh my word, what a change 6 days has made, isn't it?
No, yeah. I mean, I think the lads gave everything on against Leicester, and I thought Ingleson looks like an absolute beast to me at the minute. It looks like one of the shining lights that we've got while we've got him. And I thought we got something from Leicester, and then I'm just very, very cautious and intelligent enough like yourself to realise that this squad is just not going to get where we hope it will. I think a lot of, let's say, interesting fans' views on how Wednesday should play. That I think there's some people I've talked to that I think in the summer's had their head buried. They watched the game the other day going, oh, we can get something out of this. I think, come on, Wednesday, what's up with us? And I'm thinking, have you not seen how many kids are actually, we've got Fuzia, who's probably nowhere near ready in development to even step on that pitch yet. You've got Cads who'll run through a brick wall. But again, arguably limited, and we're trying to tie it together with a 35-year-old legend, Barry Bannon, that's trying overhead kicks that are incredible. But I'm just like, it's just, I think we all know, Matt, that the answer to this question, all of these questions, is very, very simple. 3 words: sell the club.
Do you know what, Paul? Couldn't have said it better myself. So just of a rundown of what we're going to be covering tonight. I know we don't normally touch on 2 games, but I think we would be amiss here if we didn't touch on Bolton a little bit. We'll also cover the pre-match protests, obviously yesterday. We'll then get into the game itself and talk a little bit about that. We'll then look ahead to our trip at Disneyland as well next weekend. Just before we do that, I saw so many of the black and gold North Stand t-shirts, which James was sporting last week, and they went live a week on Thursday, I think it was. There was a number of people who'd ordered them last Monday whilst the show was going, and there was kind of like a bit of I'm not sure whether people will get them in time, blah, blah, blah. I'm so pleased to have seen people, and when you see them in the flesh, they are like a gold with a rust colour as well, so I think there's nothing more apt for our current situation. If you do want to get yours, please just head over to the shop, wtidpod.myshopify.com. I can't guarantee that they'll be with you by Saturday, as it's a 5 working day turnaround and I'm not the man who does the shop. But still, head on over, and who knows, you might be able to get it in time for that trip to Disneyland next week. Paul, we'll go back to Wednesday and we'll just rewind the clock a little touch here. Wednesday night, I don't want to dive into kind of like the starting lineup and the ins and outs of the game, because the game's gone and we've had a lot that's happened in the world of Sheffield Wednesday since then. The players on Wednesday night, a much changed squad, very little experience. I think the average age of the squad on Wednesday night was something like 2021. Something to be truly proud of. I know it, let's contextualise it. I know it's only a 3-3 draw against 10-man Bolton in League One, away from home, and it's taken penalties to get through. But an outstanding achievement from those players on Wednesday night.
Absolutely incredible. Those lads have gone into basically a lion's den. Probably a few are scared. Young left back, the centre half as well. Is it Weaver? Was it Weaver, the centre half?
Weaver, yeah.
I mean, came on the other day, looked composed. They just give everything. And then I saw Ugbo as captain. I'm thinking, well, this could be interesting. A player that disappears quite a lot's the captain, but yeah, they gave a great account of themselves, and it gave me a little bit of encouragement of have no fear. They've got nothing to be worried about, and also how much research can the opposition do going forward when we're playing kids that they don't really know much about. Yeah. I was really impressed with the left back who scored.
Reece Johnson.
Yeah, I was really impressed with him. I was impressed, obviously, with Weaver. And a few of the other lads, getting down the wings, having the Bruno Fernandes. I was so impressed with that lad. And then obviously, guess what? As we all know, what a surprise! What a surprise!
Absolutely, I thought they were full of energy, Paul. Which is, I know people will say like they're young kids and they should be, and there's no excuse for them not to be up for their first professional game. But it is very easy to freeze in a moment like that and go, yes, it might be a carrier bag cup game and all the rest of it, and it might be that there's only 2 sides of the stand open and blah blah blah, but for the first 20 minutes or so, there wasn't, when there was 11 players on both teams, there wasn't much in between the 2 sides at all, for my money at least. Anyway, I thought the lads acquitted themselves really well on Wednesday night.
I said this to a friend the other day. I think there's going to be a few surprises in these young lads. There's going to be 2 or 3 of them that we unearth that we actually go, you know what? When they settle a little bit, we've got a couple of good players here. Notably, like I say, the left back and the centre half. That what I've seen at the minute, I think your players like Kabachi are going to really have to come out now, because it's going to push them to hopefully let us see something why we brought them to the club. At the minute, I'm struggling with a couple of the seniors that really need to step up. But the young lads are having no fear, and as bad as things are, this is their chance, isn't it? This is their chance to go and show us what you can do at 18. A lot of people in the game I know say 18, 19 is too young. It's not. If you're good enough, it's not, is it? It's not.
No, it's a fair point, and I think obviously we'll touch on the game obviously in depth later. But I think the fact that Ernie Weaver and Reece Johnson got minutes on Saturday's game, I think that was validation for the work that they'd done at obviously Bolton and the performances that they put in. In particular, I thought Ernie Weaver was outstanding when he came on yesterday. In terms of he looks very assured, very composed. I know they're 3-0 down, but looked very assured on the ball, finding passes, playing forward rather than just looking to take the safe option every time. So. Yeah, long may it continue. I'll just head to the comments here. We've got South Yorkshire Owl, evening all. Alex Smith as well, evening. Amber's in here as well. Daz Gilbert says the support the team, not the regime, is utter nonsense. There won't be a team if there isn't a club. People need to wake up and realise this. The apathy of our home support of the club is killing us. Nat's in here, evening all. Actually, Daz does go back after that to say good evening, which is quite nice. Yeah, and then we're obviously straight into the chat. I'll just pick up G and Barry as well, who are also in here as well. So let's move on to yesterday then. We've had 3 games in a week, 2 massive protests, very different. Before we dive into yesterday's, do you mind me asking you, Paul, what has been your thoughts on the 2 official protests? They were to stay away for the first 5 minutes against Leicester, and then the march through the park and boycotting merchandise and refreshments or all unnecessary purchases in the ground. Do you think that they've hit the right tone, as they are both very, very different, Paul?
I think the Leicester one was outstanding. And I think it was outstanding on many fronts, but one of the main ones is because it was on Sky, and it was absolute genius in ways of let's go in after 5 minutes. And I know there was a lot of apprehension to that. You know, it's going to be this and that, but actually to see that visually, because I wasn't there at home, and Sky and the EFL seem to be, I don't know, favouring us quite a lot in regards to showing it a lot, and then the visions of the Leicester fans all standing up and clapping when the Wednesday fans came in. I thought it was absolutely genius as a protest, a peaceful protest that was done right. Going to the one yesterday, I just look at this as what would Dej do? He'll be sat there going, "Oh, they're in the park, all right, carrying a coffin." He's seen it all before, hasn't he? You know, he's seen it all before in regards to. I get it, and again, I think it's done in a way of bringing media attention to it, which it's doing. I think it's really important with the trust and things like that. You know, we were talking about in the ground and things like that. Are we going to get onto that, or can I mention that now?
Yeah, no, I was just going to say on that, Paul, because it's, I suppose, to play devil's advocate here, the Sheffield Wednesday Trust has grown exponentially over a really short space of time. The way in which the collapse financial off the pitch has happened at Sheffield Wednesday has been more rapid than I would argue any other example of modern football, aside from Morecambe, who, incidentally, for everybody's goodwill, have actually had some positive news on a takeover, and it's been ratified today. So I'm thrilled for that club. The Supporters Trust, I think, are trying to not only cater for, obviously, all of the members who are there, and obviously the people who have signed up to the trust, and obviously they are using themselves as a vehicle to be a voice for those fans. It is also about, and I have understood this, and obviously we spoke to Jake here on the back end of last week, ahead of the protest at the weekend. You are trying to accommodate for a large portion of the fan base, and there will be some who want really, really militant action. It's got to be, you know, scaled up to the point of let's saw the legs off the golden elephants and chuck them in the Don. Let's get on the pitch. Let's do this. There is also a side to Sheffield Wednesday supporters that says you can't go from 0 to 100 in such a short space of time. No. And I do understand what you're saying. Do you? I suppose with the stuff that you were saying about the protest finishing in the park yesterday, would you have felt it more impactful if they'd have gone, say, across the bridge to the bottom of the south stand?
I think so. I mean, if you're going to do a protest, a peaceful protest, you know, it's been done before, hasn't it, where it's closer to the ground. I think that they're very, like you say, they're very, very contrasting. The first one at Leicester really hit. However, you know, things are gradual, aren't they? We've got a long season. And this is not going to go away. I don't feel this is going to go away. I'm not sure whether Dej thinks that, you know what, he'll be all right in a few weeks, because it always has been. Because we've had those flyers last season, and I bought a couple of players, and it goes away. I don't think it's going to go away. What I do actually worry about is the angrier people get. And let's be honest, Matt, they're going to get angry. We can't blame the players. I know we spoke a little bit off air about some of the fans maybe, coming a bit hard, I think, on some of the young lads. It's going to happen because they're going to get angry and they don't know where to direct the frustrations. Now, that's what I worry about. When fans get angry, that's when things, should be channeled properly. And I worry a little bit in regards to people getting frustrated because we're not hearing anything from the club. And we're not hearing anything. So the protests are going to take all sorts. What I worry about is we don't follow one single channel that's right. And people go off and do their own things. Like I was hearing all sorts of things like people were going to go on the pitch and people are going to do this, which obviously I'm against that on the pitch. Only because these lads, I feel for these lads. These lads are probably already trying to get round a points deduction that's inevitable. So going on the pitch is just going to give us another points deduction and get whoever's gone on the pitch probably arrested. So, and that's just my view.
I agree with you, and I think it's difficult. And we will come on to the other protest, which was the Trust did issue, did issue guidance on, which was obviously the whistle protest for the first 5 minutes. We will touch on that when we get into the game. But just going back to the march, we've got obviously the Supporters Trust organising guest speakers in terms of Clive Betts was there. David Blunkett was supposed to speak, but sadly David was unable to make it. We heard from Ian Bennett of the Trust. Both spoke incredibly passionately about the state of the club and the need to keep up the pressure on Dear Dej. Fans then march through the park, gathering outside the South Stand entrance. As you say, there was a lot of local media attention. I saw BBC Radio Sheffield there. I saw the Sheffield Star there. I saw ITV there, so Calendar there. And then they dispersed either into the ground, home, stayed in the park, or went back to the pub. It has to be said also, this was a large number of people and something all those in attendance yesterday should be incredibly proud of, more so than the previous protest at Portsmouth in terms of the numbers of it, because it had grown and it had swelled. There was myself and Chris, who I spoke about last week, who I see very regularly at games. We were saying, Jesus Christ, there's a lot of people here. And it did feel like there was a lot of people there. Again, going back to that, it's difficult to strike that balance and represent its members as best as possible, and you represent in a wider fan base. I suppose it kind of ties in with the original question that I'd ask you. That upscaling of these protests now, from your perspective, do you see that now we're at a crossroad with these protests and actually that the Trust are always going to be able to take things to a certain level? But I think everybody's very well aware that because they work very closely with the FSA and they're taking guidance from it and they do speak to the official regulations, there are simply things which the Trust have come out and said themselves they cannot encourage. They cannot endorse.
And I think that's the thing. And what I see as a danger at the minute is while we get radio silence from the chairman, who seemingly talks for everybody at the club, while there's radio silence there, people are getting angrier and angrier and angrier. I'm not speaking out of term saying people are getting very, very angry. Yeah, it's very quiet in the ground and it's apathy and, people are a bit, But outside the ground, like you say, there is a momentum building in that march that was far bigger. The whistles, I know we're going to get onto in the game in a minute, but there's a frustration building. Everybody I talk to when I come back and I'll say, what do you think? Oh, I'm fuming. Why can't he just sell it? Why is he trying to wind us up? That's the theory I get. People are going, he's trying to wind us up.
Yeah.
That is greeted to me, how I'm saying it to you. They're angry because it's very simple. Come out and speak to the fan base. You want £72 a ticket. You want 40 odd quid to go and watch kids play football. Speak to the fans because you were the one saying you know what you're doing. Go on then.
Yeah, no, I do understand it, and I'll just come to here. There's a couple of opinions that are in the chat, and Barry Anthony Wings put thanks Barry for commenting. Obviously, peaceful's not the solution. I've got Daz as well, who thinks that the Sheffield Wednesday Trust again can only do so much due to the rules they have to follow, whereas the 1867 group can effectively take things a little bit further. I'm going to touch on this one as well here, and I'll leave the comment on the screen. It's from Mark surrounding the boycott to the Leeds game, because obviously when the draw was announced and made and then everything kind of went through, I know we're skipping ahead in terms of a timeline here, there has been a call from certain sections of the fan base, including the Sheffield Wednesday Supporters Trust, to boycott the Leeds game. This, I think, has been met with the biggest amount of division that I've seen from something that has been indicated as something as supporters that we could do.
Is it on Sky, Matt?
It will be on Sky because it will be on that Football Plus. So you'll be able to get hold of it in some way, shape or form. Where do you sit with this, Paul? Because this is a really difficult one for a lot of Sheffield Wednesday fans. And I was speaking to somebody outside the ground yesterday, and I won't name him, but he was saying, I'm really torn here between wanting to show support for the players because it will be kids. Yeah. And it is their first time for a lot of them playing at Hillsborough. It's a Yorkshire derby. I want to show that this team has my backing, but I can't bring myself to give him any more money. Where do you sit with this, Paul?
I think he's right. I mean, I'm not just saying it. I'm on the fence with this because I watch the kids giving everything, and I want to support them, and I don't want to see them get walloped for their own self-confidence. Then I start thinking, well, if it was full and there were chants and there were a peaceful protest that was planned by the trust, something channeled, and there's a lot of people there, then could it be utilised in a peaceful protest way? Could that happen? However, the more I read Twitter, the more it seems like a boycott, which again, for me, what's got to be done's got to be done. It cannot carry on like this. It can't. We can't bring any players in. We know we're going to lose them through injury. It's just going to get very, very embarrassing. It already is really embarrassing. So something has to be done. I sit on, if I really, really had to, I would probably support the lads. But that's because I feel for them. Because I just think that they're up against it. And a little bit of not being there is a little bit like, all right, okay, we know what it. You know what's again? It's so frustrating. It's so frustrating because we're getting radio silence. We're not getting. Put the club. He's not once has he said that I'm going to put the club publicly up for sale.
Yeah,
he's not said it. So boycotting the Leeds game again. It seems to be. I looked at a poll online and it was very favourable. I think it was 91%, wasn't it?
Yeah. So I was just going to say we ran a poll and pre the Stoke game it was actually 75% who were in favour of
Matt,
it.
do you know what?
Post the Stoke game, it's up at 91%.
Yeah, Matt. Do you know what? I just think people aren't going to sit and watch football like this. They're just not. The other day, it's not good enough. It's just not good enough. You cannot take that amount of money off people and promise them all these things and then go, well, I'm not bothered. There's certain things that you've got to adhere to. You've delivered things that you... Listen, I still go back to that comment of, you want the best players, you have to pay these prices.
Yeah. I think where I sit with it is, I think we're at a crossroad as a fan base here because choosing to boycott a game is, we're talking, there's a lot of talk amongst kind of like, like online communities and also in person about kind of like the discussion surrounding the protests. Are they strong enough? Are they this? I just take the opinion of, yes, I know it's Leeds, but we are likely to see Leeds more regularly because they won't be able to stay in the Premier League and we'll bounce between League One and the Championship over the next couple of years. We'll bump into them again sooner rather than later. Yeah. It's not our Steel City neighbours. It's not our main rival. If you are going to look to boycott a game, I can think of no better game to boycott than a second round of the Carrier Bag Cup. Like I'm not. Being funny.
No, you're right.
The game doesn't really mean an awful lot.
We're not going to win it, are we? We're not going to win it
because that is the other thing that I look at is, if you are going out of wanting to back and show the players, I understand that point of view. But if you are looking at actually the bigger picture surrounding Sheffield Wednesday, and is this something that actually I want to get on board with? Because there was a bit of a clamour yesterday, and again, we're talking on social media here, there was a clamour surrounding certain sections of the fan base saying anybody in that ground's a problem, I've not renewed my season ticket, those of you who have, and that's a completely different discussion for me because of when the season tickets are released. Now, if I am going to sit there and be completely honest, I am not going to go to the Leeds game for a multitude of reasons, but the main one that's at the top of my list is because that is something that is pure profit for Dejphon Chansiri. It is something that I've said, if I can, if I can, and I do, and I choose to avoid the unnecessary games, I will do. This is one of those games for me where I sit there and say, you could put out our first team pretty much against that second string Leeds United side, and I still think we'd struggle to make a game of it. If you are going to pick one, I think it would send an awfully strong message with only two sides of Hillsborough open, because irrespective of what happens, Leeds are massive. They'll bring.
Well, let's be honest, they're going to get angry. Whoever's in that ground is going to get very, very angry because Leeds are going to go for the juggler.
Yeah, of course they
are.
are.
And once it's 3 or 4 or 5, even. They're going to be very angry in that ground. Yeah. So either or, like you say about the cash thing, the only thing I worry about, which is coming, I said this to James, it'll sell somebody and it'll go, well, it's your fault because you're not back. I've got to sell. It's manipulation. And I don't like it. And I've never liked it. I don't like dictatorship and I don't like manipulation. And it feels to me like I'm getting very frustrated like most fans. But what I would say on the Leeds stay away, go to the game is we need to have a clear channel of protest and voice so we all follow suit. The Leicester protest, it seemed to me like the majority followed it. If it's right, they will follow it. We need to have a voice, whether that be somebody, obviously it can't be Clive Betts or somebody that goes, this is what we're going to do, or the trust. The problem that we've got now is if the 1867 start doing their things and the trust are doing their things, they have to come together. Otherwise, it'll be a complete divide. That only helps one person and it doesn't help the fan base. We've got to stay together for the team and for the actual sanity of the club. We can't go against each other, which is looking very, very dangerously close to doing unless everybody gets the right voice. If people said, stay away from the Leeds game, you stay away from the Leeds game. You just need that voice.
Yeah, I agree. I'm just going to pull up this comment here from Stephen Whitney. Evening, Stephen. Thank you very much for joining us. He said, evening, lads. Just a thought. The under-21s are used to playing in empty stadiums, so hopefully it wouldn't affect them that much. And then I'm just going to pull this one up from P as well, who said, the players get it. They know the crack.
Yeah.
We aren't going to win the cup. Same with the league games. We're not going to stay up. I think if you, again, I can only speak for myself here, Paul. Like, I look at it and just go, do you know what? If there is an opportunity to hit him financially in the pocket, and I know historically our Carabao Cup games aren't massively well attended, unless it's Arsenal at home and we're beating them 3-0 and there's a huge wave of positivity surrounding it. They've never been well attended. I didn't anticipate this one being particularly well attended either. Even though it's Leeds, I still didn't expect it to be like, oh, do you know what? We've sold. Even if everything was all well surrounding the club, there still wouldn't be more than 20,000 there.
Even if the club was good on the pitch, Matt. Yeah. Even if the team were doing well on the pitch, we'd still be having these conversations. Yes. Because we know what the problem is.
Yeah.
And even if Pedersen pulls a rabbit out and we're like, oh my God, he's amazing. Personally, it won't be long until he does something else stupid.
Yeah.
I'll go back quickly to Danny Rowe. Great manager. Oh, yeah, but he did that against Southampton. Why did he want to leave for Southampton? Because he signed a 3-year contract. He's trying to build every single time. They could go and beat Leeds in an empty stadium 3 or 4-0. We're still going to have the problem. We're still going to have the conversation. That's just an obvious thing.
Yeah, and I get it, and I'm just going to pull this one up here from Nat as well, which is she's in responding to Chris, who'd written something above. Couldn't the fans send an open letter to the players telling them why supporters are staying away because they are supporting the team? They want Chansiri gone for things to get better.
I think they know. I think that the lads aren't stupid. They'll know. They know what's going on. They get stopped in the street by fans all the time saying, "Great," but he's all the time. I'll just go back to Will Volks on the shirt. Sorry.
Absolutely. I'm just going to pull this one up as well before we move on to the boycott of products inside Hillsborough, which is from Penniston Al, which says, we're brilliant supporters. We go up and down the country, watch our team. It's ironic not turning up is the best thing for this football club, which actually is a perfect summation of this situation in a nutshell, isn't it? And it's, again, having conversations yesterday, it is so ingrained in Sheffield Wednesday fans, and in particular that core of 17,000 season ticket holders who were there to turn up and back the team, and away from home in particular, to back the team and get behind them and show support by physically being there. And turn. It's so ingrained in so many of us that this is, if this becomes something that is a regular thing, and ultimately the longer that Dejphon Chansiri stays here, it's coming, and as well it should. In my personal opinion, and bear in mind he had my money in January of last year, and it means nothing to me because he'd spent that money the summer before. He'd already spent that money by the time I'd paid for it. So the only thing of someone like myself as a season ticket holder not going is it's a visual statement, because I don't buy anything in the ground. I haven't done for a long time.
And what a statement it is, by the way.
Yeah,
what a statement it is. If we're hammering all the away games and singing his hearts out, and there's nobody going to Hillsborough.
Yeah, which is ultimately
it's a massive statement.
Yeah, which is ultimately, mate, what happened at Blackpool. It's what happened at points throughout at Reading as well. Yeah. And when you talk about those clubs and the idea of having one kind of unifying, I suppose, one unifying voice, the interesting thing about both of those situations, both at Blackpool and Reading, is they did have a supporters trust where most people followed, but they also did have a more, I hate using the word, but I can't think of a better one for it, a more militant section of the fan base who were prepared to do the things that simply others weren't, like go on the pitch, like disrupt football games. And I saw comments earlier today basically saying, how the fuck can a club, no disrespect to a club like Blackpool, but how can a club like Blackpool have a group of supporters who have the bollocks to do this? And Sheffield is a city built on people with a backbone, and we're arguing about don't disrupt games. Don't blow a whistle.
I actually think that this is a progressive build from the Wednesday fans. I actually think that we are going to get to a stage where it's completely wrong, but somebody will do something stupid. That's my fear, because they're not getting listened to, because nothing else is working. And let's be honest, if nothing else is going to work, then to go to that as a last resort is absolutely frightening. It's fair enough if you're going to run on the pitch like was threatened at Leicester or Stoke, ultimate ban, done. Nobody else will do it.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's a little bit like Bricktop in Snatch when he's poking the dog. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Poke the dog. Go for me. Go on, go for me.
Yeah.
It feels to me like he's goading to an extent by just going complete silent. Yeah. It shouldn't ever get to that, and I hope it doesn't. But I always say to people, like, every fan has got a trigger.
Everyone's got a breaking point.
They've got a breaking point.
Some have got shorter fuses than others, it would seem.
Yeah.
Doug, thank you so much for the super chat as well. I'll come on now to the boycott of products inside Hillsborough.
What products?
Well, as listeners will know, obviously, that I sit on the South Stand, and clearly not everybody on the South Stand had got the memo, but it was significantly less than is normally there. Normally, you walk onto the concourse. I think I got there 20 minutes before kickoff, and there was, if you'd have wanted to go and purchase something for a kiosk, there were plenty of opportunities for you to do. There was a lot of people stood around twiddling their thumbs, let's put it that way. I think it was even better, even more so observed on the North Stand, exactly as you'd expect, and the COP as well. I think it was incredibly well observed. There was no queues for anything at all. Do you think that sends enough of a message, Paul? Because this is something that is not visual. It's not something you'll see. It's not something like carrying a coffin through the park. It's not something like staying away from an away end. It's something that is actually done behind the scenes, and is something that a lot of people have been suggesting for a large amount of time, actually, is hit him where it hurts, which is his pockets. We know everything at Hillsborough has been marked up compared to other football clubs around the ground. All you have to do is go to another football stadium, and you'll see that a bottle of water at another football stadium is £1.20. At Sheffield Wednesday, it might be £2. A bag of chocolate there might be £1.50. You go to Hillsborough, it's £2.50. It seems. I thought that yesterday was the most successful of all of the protests that everybody got involved with yesterday, or the vast majority of people, if that makes sense.
I think it's definitely going to hit him. It's going to hit, obviously, because you're not taking those pints. You're not, taking those pies. I've got to say, slightly away. I went with a friend to, dare I say it, the other side of the city.
Boo.
And I've never, obviously, I know, I'd never been to a Premier League game. Well, I knew they were going to get beat in the Premier League, so I went. So it was going to be a good game.
Yeah.
So I went to watch them, and their facilities, it's just embarrassing. And this is, I don't want to buy a cup of tea on that. I want to support my club, and I want it to be going for the right reasons. I think it's a strong message not buying anything. I really do. Not that I think there's a lot to buy. I just worry that by not buying anything, he's just going to go and sell Piers Charles. He's going to strip and strip and strip. We need to find, I get this, we need to find a way of getting him to wake up to go, I've got to sell this club. That seems to be what the trust have done a lot more research than me in how to starve him. That is one of the many things. Everybody that's got a season ticket, it's already got a season ticket. Like you say, he's had your money. So what else can you possibly give him? Well, he's not getting shirts. So what else is he not getting? Well, he's not getting beer. Somebody told me, by the way, that the fan zone, I don't think that's, I think somebody else runs that outside the club. I think the Wednesday get a kickback.
Yeah, it's
so
outsourced.
He's not even bothered really about that because it's pennies in consideration.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure because when I used to work with a football club, I worked with a marketing company and they were always looking at ways to bring money in. So this company does CRMs. This company does this. Well, can you sponsor us? Can you do this? Wednesday don't seem to outreach for sponsors. And I'd invite anybody from Sheffield Wednesday. Oh, yes, we do. Show me. Because in the last 10 years, other than sell the boxes for 45 grand, where is all these sponsors that come up, Mr. Whatever? I don't even know half of them are, to be honest. But where is all this commercial LinkedIn or whatever it is outreach to bring these people in, to bring money into the club? There doesn't seem to... He says that he wants to bring money into the club, but I don't see it done. I don't see outreaching properly to companies and saying, will you sponsor this? Will you sponsor that? Sheffield Wednesday, regardless of what Dej says in regard, actually not that big. Well, that's because you don't know what you've bought.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I would agree.
And so when you're not buying pies and you're not buying beers, I'm not sure. Listen, we've got to do something. I'm trying to give an alternate here, but he's not, in my view, going out and saying, I want this sponsor. We want this sponsor. There's no sales team at Hillsborough. When I'm listening to Chris Powell say that there's Dejphon, Piaxo, Lindsay, where's HR?
Yeah.
Where's sales and marketing? Where's all the departments that actively go and bring money to the club? So is he actually wanting money?
Yeah.
Which I go, well, where does he get his money from? Because apparently we don't give him that much. The fans actually don't bring that much money. I don't need your money. Where's it coming from? I mean, that's another conversation. We're all trying to find out. Clive bets everybody. Where's the money coming from? Because, like I say, commercially, people are stopping giving him money by not buying pies, by not buying beers, but also by not going out and reaching out to, I don't know, Erwin Mitchell or Sanderson's again or whoever. Then is he bothered?
Yeah, and it is an interesting question. Just because, again, just touching on the boxes, because you've spoke about them. They're the executive or the corporate packages that you can buy at Wednesday. I sit 2 rows in front of where the boxes are on the south. There was a distinct lack of regulars, let's say, who
because of football's terrible.
Year, I mean, there's a box that is just to over my right shoulder where it is a family who are well known around Sheffield, who have had a box there for as long as I've had a season ticket, pre that, but as long as I was a member before then. They weren't there yesterday. Now, there was a lot of boxes to the left and right of them who were also normally full. Like the last season, if I go back to the games last season, you might hit 2 or 3 of them that don't have somebody in. It was actually that dead yesterday that there was some of the girls who were working in corporate. I turned around on, I think it was about 30 minutes to have a conversation with somebody behind me, and noticed that there was a lot of the corporate staff who were working yesterday who had just wandered through one of the empty boxes.
Yeah.
And just having a sit down and just a watch of it before they got back up.
But Matt, if you're entertaining your clients in a company, like, I don't want to drop like with Man U, but they would entertain clients because they obviously not at the minute, but they'd be watching a certain elevated brand of football, and they know they might win, and there's a great atmosphere. What's going on at Hillsborough then? Because half the team at 21s, we haven't got a squad. Half the stadium's empty. Yeah. So to bring your clients to that game, it's like, will it do me more damage than good? That's just my opinion. It's just my opinion. Is it great to see a half-empty stadium with a load of kids that you know are going to get beat 3-4-0?
Yeah, it's a fair point. I think just before we actually touch on some fucking football for once, I think before we get on to that, I think the other thing that was the most visibly noticeable yesterday to anybody who was there, aside from the kiosk situation, was the distinct lack of home and away shirts. Now, I did see a number of people sporting I'll be honest, I give it a lot of shit. As it turned up at my door, because I was one of those idiots who'd order it in September, when it turned up on my door on Tuesday, I was like, oh, it's not actually as bad in person.
No. Is this the white one?
Yeah,
the white one, yeah.
Shirt. It's not actually as bad.
No, it's
but there was a distinct lack of... Normally, the start of the new season brings about an awful lot of people in the new kit and kids wandering around in the new kit, and plenty of dads and mums and aunts and uncles all sporting it in some variation or fashion. The 2 games that I've been to this year, there has been a massive drop-off in that, aside from, I think, a not-so-reputable Chinese manufacturer. I think that probably gets us out of any sticky situations. That is something that has hit because, again, I did a preview with a Stoke fan before the game, and I actually asked them how much was their kit, because incidentally their kit is supplied by Macron as well. Their kit is in the £50 range. And when I told them that ours was in the 70s, he went, "What the fuck are you talking about?" I said, but that's the mark. I said that's the markup for Dejphon Chansiri for supporters of this football club. And I do think that is worthwhile pointing out. Yes, there will be people who have bought online. Yes, there will be people who don't want to wear it to the game for fear of whatever repercussions they fear may come, which I don't think is going to be the case. But it is something that I do, again, as a very visible statement, was really, really obvious at the last 2 games. So, again, just something, I think just something worth touching.
There's ways of touching on this. Personally, I won't buy one. And the reason I won't buy one is because it's embarrassing. Yeah. Because if I go out and say, the first thing they say is, "Oh, your owner, man." I'm like, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to support it. So that, to me, is not Sheffield Wednesday. Yeah. Every area of the club... he's managing to taint. It's like everything he touches seems to turn to, you know what I mean? And people are, the white shirt, to be honest, I really like the white shirt. Would I buy it? No, I wouldn't, for obvious reasons. I really like it.
I'll be honest, now I've got a set of eyes and I've seen it. I wouldn't have bought it, Paul, but I bought it blind.
But, you know, again, back to like how amazing this fan base is, which I've never understood why he's not tried to get on side on a PR or a media marketing. Why have you never tried to get on side with the fan base as an owner? That blows my mind. Yeah. Blows my mind when you've got a fan base that will buy a shirt that you've not even fucking seen.
Yeah. Yeah. Mate, honestly, the amount of times that I tried to explain it, and me trying to explain it away to my missus as well the other day, when she was like, "I thought you weren't buying anything." I went, "Oh, no, I bought this in October." And she went, "You what?" I said, "Oh, I bought this in October. It's this season's 3rd shirt." And she said, "Had you seen it?" And I said, "Well, I'd seen the owl, and that's all I knew about it." She went, "You're a fucking idiot." So,
but we are
because,
right. Because, but we are, but we're trying to pull. What's so frustrating is we know where this club should be or should be challenging, and we're not asking for the world. You know, I spoke to somebody the other day, and he went, "I'd take Mike Ashley in a heartbeat," because he knows that Mike Ashley would run a club that actually fundamentally works mechanically. Our club, you cannot have a chairman and 2 people underneath. One does that, one does that. Again,
he's batshit, isn't it?
It's like Steve Bracknell. Like could probably say he's probably got different areas. Bracknell, hasn't he? You know what I mean?
I tell you what, mate. I thought his kit announcement and the kit release for the Royal Oak was absolutely sensational. Really well done, and well done to the media outlet who helped him produce that. Yeah,
absolutely. But it just takes. Why won't you listen?
Yeah.
Why won't you utilise the people in the area? Howard Wilkinson, David Hurst, Leighton Palmer, these people that are all now don't seem to be near the club that should be embraced by the club. It's all the same thing, from the shirts to the people affiliated. You know, we have legends on the wall, and some of them don't even go.
And quite rightly as well, mate, don't want to be associated.
They don't want to go because I said this to a friend. I said, when that club goes, and it's, you know, we talk about Wrexham. One thing that those two know what to do is market, sell, like. They're likable. They have production companies. I mean, I don't know if you saw Windasser's Instagram thing.
Which one?
Hugging Ryan Reynolds.
No, I haven't seen it. I think the head might have come off, mate.
And Ryan Reynolds has like retweeted it, obviously, and I'm just like, oh, fucking hell, is it about football? This because I'm in an industry where it's about arguably that. This is just, and you know, I know tomorrow morning TalkSport will be on, and I'm sure somebody will go in for a Wednesday, and Simon Jordan will give us Groundhog Day on how great Wednesday is, and somebody needs to buy it. Yeah. Just fucking buy it. Somebody just come out and say, right, I've put 40 million down, I've put 35 million down. This is my plan. And then when he turns it down, DFL and everybody else can go, right, why have you turned it down?
I tell you what, that is a great point. We'll save that one for extra time, because I do think that there is a conversation here surrounding, is this now the optimum time to actually purchase the football club if you go into, and I understand people waiting, I understand that the argument of people making, but we will touch on that on extra time. Just for anybody who isn't signed up to Patreon, obviously you can head over straight onto all of our socials. The Patreon link is there. It'll be in the description underneath this video as well. Please sign up to the Patreon link. You can watch that. It goes live straight after the show as well, where we'll touch on that alongside the noise surrounding the North Stand as that continues to rumble on. We'll touch on the 1867 group a little bit more, and we'll also touch on the EFL not allowing us to sign players before we can prove that we can actually pay the existing players' wages. What a fucking shit show. Anyway, mate, Stoke 3-0 on the pitch. Let's get into the starting lineup. There was one change yesterday. Sean Fasire in for Nathaniel Chalobah. It's an enforced change. James asked me this last week. He said, what are your thoughts on the lineup? So I'm going to ask you, Paul, what are your thoughts on that lineup?
Oh, fucking hell. Let's play bingo. Pick a number out. Who's playing where? My thoughts on that lineup were, fuck's sake. That's my first thought that came into my head, because where can it... I've got nowhere to go. So if he doesn't play for Syria, who does he play? Nobody. All right, okay. My thoughts on the lineup were, I hope we don't get any injuries.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that's fair enough. And I think I said something similar last week as well, Paul, in the sense of, yep, that's the 11 senior players that we've got, bar obviously Sean Fasire. The only I can't believe I'm saying this. I mean, I can believe I'm saying it because I'd have him starting every game. Do you feel that there was a case for riding the crest of the EK Ugbo wave from Bolton? I know he's played a long game there, and I know he's played the full match. Do you think that there was a case to go 2 up front here? Because it's not Leicester. Leicester, I understand going 1 up top and playing 3, like 2 wingers. Do you think that there was a case for dropping 3 into that midfield yesterday and just going, do you know what, we're going to chuck Cads and we're going to chuck Ugbo to go up there, and they're just going to try and run them ragged up there when they get the opportunity? Yeah,
I do. And I'll tell you why, and I'll probably get shot down for this. Ugbo last season never had any crosses other than Marvin Johnson. Ugbo's feed was Pervader, Johnson, season before, and crosses into the box. He didn't get that with Gassama. That's why Gassama ended up scoring a few goals and running and being the best player. And Masaba was like speedboat, obviously with no steering wheel, but they never got crosses in. This lad is obviously all about confidence.
Yes.
Fucking play him. What we got to lose? What have we got to lose? You know, Jamal Lowe, as much as I like Jamal Lowe, stick him on the wing because I just don't think he's that player that plays there. Stick Ugbo up there, stick Cads up there, and I'd be saying to Cads, you know what? We know what you are. Get in there, ruffle them up, hound them, push them, press them, and let Ugbo get a goal or two and, well, get a goal, but just get crosses in.
Yeah. I think the only reason I'm back on the EK Ugbo ban, I never left it, to be fair. I'm the one who's pulling it. The reason why I'm saying it, mate, is because I do think that there's a case. I agree with the Jamal Lowe. I would like to see Jamal Lowe in his most potent attacking position for other clubs, which has been wide left, cutting in and banging off shots. Yeah. Because when we play him wide right, I think you take away a huge element to his game of where he was successful, where he got his move from Swansea to Bournemouth, back to... He scored goals coming in from that left, being in an advanced position, going across and getting shots off. And then you also pick up rebounds. Now, granted, I'm not criticising the manager in any shape or form here, but I'm just trying to, I suppose, pose an argument of, as the season goes on, we're going to have to find different ways to skin exactly the same cat. Because it is just going to be, until we can satisfy the EFL that we can actually, do something that we haven't done for the last 3 months, which is pay the fucking wages on time.
Can I just stop you there? Just briefly push on this, Matt. Don't you think the EFL are basically trying to say to Chansiri, sell?
Yes.
That's the message I got from reading that. It's almost like saying, we don't believe you, so sell. So then the new owner can come in and we will let him sign players. I seriously think that every message that they brought out, I read as, we're with the fans.
Yeah.
Go on.
I'm with you, mate. I think so. There was a comment earlier from Kevin, which was, why aren't some protests aimed at the EFL? They're hiding behind the rules and regs, just making Sheffield Wednesday uncompetitive instead of getting DC out. And whilst I do understand and I do take the point and I do take the stance of, I do understand why people have that particular stance, the EFL are the ones who enforce the rules. They're not the ones who write the rules. The ones who write the rules are the football club's owners, because they're the ones who have to sign off on it. No football club owner is going to be stupid enough to sign up to a rule that allows him to be booted out unless it's something criminality, which is what happened at Reading. I am with you. I think the EFL, if you have to look very hard for it and you have to want to see it. In my opinion, the EFL have taken a stronger stance than they did with Reading, which, if you speak to Reading fans, was absolutely nothing.
If he doesn't pay this next batch, I think the EFL have already said, haven't they, in no effective terms of, we will push you to sell the club and help you sell the club at an affordable. That's the key for me. Affordable. Not a 200 million pie in the sky Disneyland, an affordable price. Yeah. And I think that's why I can see him selling and loaning back somebody, because he ain't going to get any money. Yeah.
Genuinely, it's a really strong argument. And he was... I know he will come on and touch on the first goal.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm deflecting.
No, it's fine. No, you're right to, mate. Like, in terms of you know what it's like. We go off on tangents all the time here. You're right to suggest so, because for my money, the lad in between the sticks here. Yes, I absolutely love Barry Banham. The lad in between the sticks is our best player.
We can't sell him. We can't sell him.
It's fucking mental that it's the same family. His brother was our best player last season, and he's the best player now. If we are to sell him,
he's worth more than the club, Matt. He's worth more than...
There's genuinely an argument to suggest that actually one day he may well be worth.
I think he's worth more than the club now.
Yeah, there's an argument for that as well, mate.
In this market, he's a 10 to 15 million pound player.
For a well-run club,
anybody to argue, he's 20-year-old. He plays for his country. He's the number one. He is a 10 to 50 million pound player. Go and tell Dej that when he's dealing him out at fucking packet of crisps and a KFC. It's just
Anyway, it'll get you angry, won't it, mate? Anyway,
you know what? It's not working. It is not working.
It's not working. Start drinking it. The one I would say from yesterday, which I thought was the most notable one, and myself and James have touched on this previously, is At Leicester last week, it was really difficult to not be so emotionally invested in the game that you actually could sit back and watch it and think, right, what the fuck are we doing here? Because Henrik Pedersen, all of the stuff that we'd heard about him was that Henrik Pedersen was the attacking coach. And I think from the patterns of play that we saw yesterday, it was very similar to what we saw last year when we were successful. Getting in wide areas, creating spaces, getting crosses into the box. Okay, the quality wasn't there for large portions yesterday, but when we did work the ball into particular areas through Svante Ingelsson, XYZ, we did get some joy. The one that I was most interested to see yesterday was our defensive shape out of possession, and it was very clear that when Stoke had the ball and we were able to get back and get set, that we were a 5-2-3 out of possession. I looked at that with those two wing backs really dropping back down the pitch and coming back in with three, like five very, very flat back five, a midfield two of Bannon and Fasire, and then a front three who sit and the minute aside get over the halfway line we press. And I know defensive football is not everybody's cup of tea, but this is what is going to save us more points this year than anything else. Are we able to get back into that defensive shape as quickly as possible? Because I felt in possession, our wing backs go high, very high. And ultimately, Stoke yesterday learned from the Leicester performance and exploited this in transition all afternoon, in particular against Jan Valery and Gabe Otegbayo, who did not look comfortable at all. I thought we made Sorba Thomas yesterday look like a prime Sylvan Wiltord 2000 Arsenal winning title like player. Don't get me wrong, Sorba Thomas is a good player and he had a great performance yesterday. If he didn't get Stoke's man of the match, I'd be fucking amazed. But I thought that was when Henrik came out after the game. He talked about fitness. He talked about intensity. And I just thought it was there for all to see yesterday.
Massively. There was a passage of play, I think it might have been Leicester, where I think they ripped down the wing and Charles ended up pulling a great save off around about 70 minutes or something. And we were nowhere. We were at the shape. I don't even know what the fucking shape was because we were absolutely nowhere. I think that's I'm not convinced with Otegbayo at the minute. Okay. And I know, and I feel that talking about what we're talking about now, to everybody listening, I feel that they've got to remember where the nucleus of this problem is when we're coming onto these players. We know where it is. We know. Yeah. But I just think he's in no man's land a lot of the time. I think he's still learning. I think under Roll, that's why he was brought in for 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Now he's having to play him. He was completely lost for, was it the Leicester goal? The header. He didn't know he was
for the Wout Fass winner.
Who am I marking? And he's there. He's there.
There's an interesting point there, mate, because I saw Shea Dunkley once of Sheffield Wednesday.
I'd take him now, by the way.
Well, Shea Dunkley, 100%. Shea Dunkley actually came out and said after that game, and I think it was a post on X that he said, this is going to sound tough on. I think he referred to him as Gab, and I don't mean this horribly. There are situations in a game where even if you are playing zonal, you have to recognise that you go man for man because it's the 87th minute and you stick with him and you win the header. That comes with experience, I guess. And that goes back to your point there of last year when it was even some semblance of a competent coaching and for playing setup. There was some sense of normality. I agree with you. Managing the minutes. Middlesbrough first half, really tough performance. Brought him out, chucked some experience in there, brought somebody else in. We move on, we end up getting a draw. Then we bring him back in towards the end of the season and we give him 70 minutes and he looks a world beater because we're managing that. And that is, as you rightly say, mate, we have to get used to that as a fan base this season, that we haven't got.
We had massive problems. We had massive problems last season for me. That's why Roll was, like you say, managing the players, bringing Windass off after 70 minutes because they were knackered. There was one passage of play last season. I can't remember where it was at Hillsborough, where Windass was on 70 minutes. I was sat near the bottom of the south stand, the left-hand side, and he was near the corner flag and he was blowing a little bit. Che Charles, obviously a different animal. Same position, not even a piece of sweat, launches a counter-attack. And he got brought off. And they bring him off. He was managing the players. He was getting the best out of what he'd been given. This season, he's got even less.
Yeah.
And for me, I mean, to be quite honest, what I've seen of Weaver, I'd take Gab out and I'd put Weaver in. And I'd just say, go and, what we got to lose. But sinking back in, I think you're right. Can they get back? Are they fit enough to get back? I tell you something I've noticed of the squad, which I'm at. Listen, if we could list things, we'd be here for 17 hours with this.
Yeah.
But I'm fuming that everything that's gone or he's sold is an offensive threat, i.e. pace, none. Even Paul's gone, fair enough. Released him. That's a great idea, knowing what was coming. Anyway, Paul went, gas armour, Masaba, pace, all gone, not replaced. Windass, the threat's gone. Are we going to get out of our box? I'm surprised we can get out of our box.
Because that is the thing yesterday was, I think there was a lot of sobering realities for Sheffield Wednesday fans yesterday, post the high of what was ultimately a 2-1 loss to Leicester. Svante Ingelsson, who I have been very open about the fact that he's hit and miss for me, was our standout player on the park aside from Pierce Charles yesterday. He not only did he run his blood to water, he was also creative, he was dynamic in possession, he released the ball at the right time. But there were times in the second half where he would break the line or somebody would slip him in down the channel and he'd get his head up to look and cross. And you've got Cads trying his damnedest to get there. But because the play's been so far back and he's had to run himself into the bloody ground, he's just not getting there. And that's not a criticism of Cadamartri. That's a criticism of the facts of exactly what you've just been talking about there. There isn't an alternative. That you can't keep doing this because, again, Henrik mentioned it so much after the game yesterday, and I thought it was really telling that he mentioned the word intensity about 30 times in his post-match yesterday.
Yeah.
Stoke looked quicker and sharper into shape. And every time they broke, they had 3 or 4 willing runners as options at different areas of the pitch that were up with play. And that surely just comes from having a settled pre-season and intense work on the training pitch, which, when you go back to the top of it, the owner has not facilitated to happen underneath him. He's the one who didn't organise the compensation with Rull. He's the one who didn't get coaches in on that first. We had Chris Powell spoke about it on a podcast in the week where he said, I turned up for the pre-season for the first 2 days and then we all left. Like, we didn't have training pitches ready. All of this is a byproduct of what you are seeing on the pitch is just that poor, consistent, poor decision-making or non-decision-making that's been made above.
At the minute, there's an optimism, I feel, in the fan base that, come on, we can go, come on, I'm right behind you, lads. But when we're getting battered a 2-0, a 3-0, a 4-0, a 5-0, whatever, 1-0, they're going to get angry because they know. We know why we're in this position. Yeah. And as it goes on the season, these protests are going to get angrier. It's just common sense because we're not going to get that 3-0 win. We're not going to get that because even players coming in aren't going to be fit enough or not wanted.
Well, because we'll come back to the game, but it's interesting that there's obviously Ben Mee was on BBC Radio 5 Live today, and they touched on the fact that he's been in training at Sheffield Wednesday. Liam Cooper's been rumoured. We're being linked with a Norwich player who's been there for 7 or 8 years, who Norwich fans are fucking thrilled to see the back of. The level of, and this is no slight against Liam Cooper and Ben Mee, both fantastic players in their own life cycle. But there is a reason why they're training with us. There is a reason why Jack Hunt, who was deemed surplus to requirement 2 years ago, is training with us.
Listen, it's the same as when we signed Armstrong. Oh, what a great player. Yeah, so was Maradona about 35 years ago. Do you know what I mean? Brilliant. Yeah. So was Gascoigne. He's 35. He's come for a reason. And is this Deja's marquee signing? Oh, yeah, we want the best players. Personally, I cannot wait until this club gets sold and we have a proper, different recruitment process.
Yeah, an actual plan.
We actually have a plan, or we have a young lad coming in that is exceptional, not a Japanese left back that's put one cross in that's notable.
That put a great cross in at Burnley.
It's just, it's so frustrating. It's just so frustrating. And I go back to the Rolls situation, which is history now. I just feel that under the current regime, we're never going to progress, regardless how positive we talk about Henrik, who's brilliant, how we talk about the players. Until there's a change, we're going to go around the same cycle because our owner believes in a certain way and he's not going to change his process because he's right. Obviously, he's right because look what's going on. It's brilliant.
Just before I come back to this comment from Lee, I think this is absolutely brilliant here. Where are we? Alex Smith, plan doesn't translate into Thai. The one that I've pulled up here, just going back to that, the intensity and the fitness aspect of it, is because this was my worry for me. Because Henrik, I think it was towards the end of his interview, was talking about the fact of we've got now a week on the grass, which in the Championship is rare. You don't very often you have a free week where your week is bookended by 2 games. It's not the top division. It's not the Premier League where they play millions of games, but they actually get loads of free weeks. In the Championship, it is often Saturday, Tuesday or Wednesday, Saturday or Sunday. So you have 3 game weeks, which is exactly what we've just come out of. And Henrik was like, we've had to, and he spoke about it in his pre-match as well, about the fact that we've had to really manage the load of players.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I did, again, with the benefit of hindsight from those listening to those comments from him, I would argue that saw a higher level of performance against Leicester than it did Stoke, because the players had clearly had a lot of time to prep for this game. They knew exactly what the game plan was. They were able to get intensity to within the point of, for 70 minutes before the sending off, and obviously the subs started coming on, that they were able to be in the game. Yesterday, by the time that rolled around, we were already 2-0 down. This was the comment that I thought was very interesting, because Henrik said we've got a really intense week this week. And my first thought was, look at our injury record. And Lee has said, can we not risk high intensity training and the injuries that we had last year? Because we're already 1 player down. Baz also went down midway through the second half, where it looked, I think there was a collective moment where every Sheffield Wednesday fan who was watching that yesterday went, oh God, as he stayed down, because Baz never stays down. He doesn't stay on the floor.
Can I just add to this as well?
Yeah, of course.
How many of those players are going to really want to put a foot in for Dej?
Yeah, and it is a fair point, because don't get me wrong, I think for the 90 minutes, I tend to side with what Giles Coke has suggested in the past, who once or twice at this parish, obviously, who is now on our coaching setup. There's a bizarre turn of events. He had said that when players cross that white line, that doesn't enter your head. But actually in training, and the levels of intensity that you are required to show in training. Now, I know Henrik has spoke about the fact that everybody is fully committed to this. Everybody is in this together. Whilst I buy that now, I do genuinely buy that now. I think if we are in a similar situation and the football regulator or a buyer hasn't surfaced and reared their ugly head and ripped the club away from Chansiri, and people can see on the horizon that that's there, when you start getting into December...
Contracts are up. 1 year contracts are up.
And naturally also, if you are a player and you haven't been paid on time and this idiot is still clinging on and the regulator is struggling to get him out, or bids have been rejected. Now, I don't foresee that being an issue, personally. I spoke about it at length. I think the regulator will come in and that will be the end to this. If you're a player in that position, can anybody blame you for actually thinking
the agents in the rear? Agents in the rear, Matt.
Yeah. Can anybody blame them, Paul? Is the question.
No, we can't. I mean, we're lucky, I'm so proud of the lads in regard to like Max Lowe saying I'm going to stay. But Max Lowe, they're all in a great position in a way, because the young lads have got a chance to show that they've got a bit. Max Lowe knows that he does a year and he puts his body on the line, he's going to get another club. He's probably got somebody already saying give it a year, or give it till January and we'll see where we are. We don't know what goes on. But I remember watching, we've all watched these players that can be terrible for the 3 quarters of the season, and then in the the contract's up at the end of the season, they become fucking phenomenal. Yeah. I'm not sure whether that's going to happen here, because they're going to be knackered. Yeah, agree. And they're going to be wore out. I'm just imagining another shopping spree at Aldi, where we're going to get, before the end of the transfer window, 5 or 6 or 7. Remember when Dej turned around to Danny Roll's request or he said something and he said, I was only going to bring 5 or 6 players in. I've given him a lot more.
Yeah, and
Fucking
he wanted
hell.
12. Yeah, he wanted 5 players and I give him 12.
I'm like that. You don't own the fucking Mercure. You own a football club.
That's a fucking belt of that.
Do you know what I mean?
That is a fucking crack of that, Paul. I'll be honest. That is 10 out of 10. That's caught me off guard, that one.
But it's true. You own a football club. You don't own you fucking learn what you're doing, man, for Christ's sake.
You're right. And I suppose before we come on to the goals, and then I think for me the biggest bugbear of yesterday, I am going to pose this one to you, because is there a case of old habits dying hard here, Paul?
Oh, you talk about set pieces.
I'm talking about set pieces. They looked very familiar from an attacking sense. We also start very slowly, in particular the second half, at home. We had chances and we didn't take them. These were all major, major gripes last season. And this is not a criticism of the players in any way, shape or form. Again.
No disrespect to the set piece guy, but where did he come from?
Accrington, I think. Yeah. Are we in a situation where, because the squad, and I suppose this is the benefit to being able to refresh a squad, is that actually with a refresh squad or new players through the door or cycling through players, there are players who come in with different skill sets, let's say. Perhaps set pieces. Perhaps they are quick to start halves. Perhaps you come in with a player who, similarly to Josh Windass last year, he's a player who can create something out of nothing. I know Josh has spoken on this extensively, of wanting to create moments.
Like a maverick.
Like create moments. Like, again, I know his shirt's behind me and I love him to death, but like I thought for 3 months, yes, his general performances were good, but I thought a player like Jan Poveda could do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm just looking at that yesterday, and a lot of those nagging thoughts of, we've not actually played that badly in this game.
Yeah.
And somehow we're on the wrong side of a +2 loss here.
Yeah.
Is it as simple as this? Is it as simple as this is the benefit of being able to refresh a squad, that you don't have these issues creeping?
I think so. We need a player for every position. We need football intelligence. I think if you brought in 2 centre-backs of a Cooper calibre, 33, who can actually organise, no disrespect to Ior for Dom. I always see him as still pretty young. So is Max Lowe. You just need 2 strong centre-backs that, even if they're on the bench like Baz, just shouting orders. There's no rotation, because this at the minute he's going to have to play Kabachi at left back instead of left wing, or he's going to have to play I don't know, Valerie inside right, because
Charlie McNeil as a wing back.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? And they can't do it. There is a massive thing in regards to that. I also, although I was not trying to diss our set piece coach, which, to be quite honest with you, if something doesn't work, fucking change it, man. Do you know what I mean? It's not working. Last season I saw him stand up and, they've scored, or that was horrendous. Yeah. And I'm thinking, but you know what? I, no disrespect, but it's literally like, if you go shopping in Aldi, you get Aldi. If you go shopping in Marks, you get Marks.
Yeah, I understand.
And I'm not blaming him, because this could be the footballers in regards to, like, I think you touched on football intelligence. We need players in there that can manage a shit show. Yeah. And I'm not sure that we've got that. We need somebody like who's going to put the foot in and go, can have that. And if you can run at me again, I'm going to give it you again. I feel that you've took the shithousery out of us with Patterson. Yes. Who's gone to a League Two side, which blows my mind. I think there's a bit of shithousery in Windass. You've left Baz on his own. So all these teams are going to come in now and give it what we don't see. All right, Baz, what are you going to do today? Was on his own. Who's going to back Baz up in that side, Matt? Who is there in that side?
It's a fair point, and I think it is something, I think, as the season goes on, that I think will become more of a talking point. Just I suppose just to touch on, Stoke scored 3 goals. One of them was a slightly stray pass from Gabe Ottagbayo. Sean Fasire gets nicked off him in the middle of the park. Stoke recycle the ball well, they move it wide, player out wide, name slips me, cuts inside, goes back through Max Lowe's legs, beats Pierce Charles at the near post. Is there any, this really nicely put, is there any criticism that you would level at any Sheffield Wednesday player there?
I don't want to criticise him, because I think the lad's been brought on that's been thrown into it, and I really like Sean Fasiri.
Yeah.
I'd like to see him on the wing at the minute. I don't think he's physically strong enough. I think they wrestled the ball off him, and that was the mistake.
I'd like to see him in a 3. I think if you play him in a midfield 3, you probably get the best out of him in terms of his... Because for my money yesterday, I thought he grew into the game yesterday.
Yeah, he did.
I thought he looked a little at sea. And again, you will not find too big a Sean Fasiri fans than myself and Elliot, who is in Discord. I thought the first 9 minutes or so, he was really shocked by kind of the tempo and the pace of it. And then gradually after that, he worked his way into the game to have a very, in my opinion, a very, very solid outing for a person who plays a 2 in the Championship, because very, very few sides do play a 2. I take your point. I think the ones that were more concerning for me were the second and third goal, because they were a carbon copy of one another, which was... The ball floated in because Jan Valery has pushed high, which is right to do. Wednesday have had the ball. Jan Valery has pushed high to be an option. I think it was Ben Wilmot, the centre-half, who had the ball for him. Big switch of play into the gap. Otugbeo's been dragged out by Beijing Ho, who the number 10, who caused us all sorts of problems yesterday. Sorba Thomas gets in, nicks it over Pierce Charles, and it's 2-0. That's 30 seconds into the second half. And then again, almost a carbon copy for the third goal. That is, I suppose, going back to the point that I made right at the start when we were talking about the game. That is, for my money, why I think we should go to a 5-3-2, or I would like to see us utilise it at some point this season. Because if you've got that 5 there and you've got that 3 in the centre of the park, do you remember when Baz first signed for us and he was playing left mid and right mid?
Yep.
I think you get maybe a little bit more out of them in those areas, and you can leave Baz a bit further up to be, as you said, that creative spark to unlock a team, to actually provide that moment of, fucking hell, I didn't see that pass. Because at the minute, to me, he just screams as he's trying to fight so many fires.
Oh, listen, this is all very simple. Go back to after Hull when we needed one fucking player. We needed a big lad in the middle that could hit people and give the ball to Baz. Stick somebody up there. I don't care. Take Adebayor, give him 10 minutes in the middle and say, right, I want you to tackle, give the ball to Baz, or give the ball. There was a lot of stray, loose passes that were stupid giveaways. Baz is fighting too many bodies and he's too small. They're not, like, I go back to the physicality for Siri. We need him, but he's a creative player. He's a not Barry Bannon, obviously, but that sort of vibe for me.
He wants to get on the ball, doesn't he?
Yeah, so you need somebody to win the fucking ball. I always remember, like, somebody telling me when I was at Man U, and he was saying to me, Fellaini's there to win the ball. He's getting so much crap when he was at United. Wins the ball, what does he do? He looks up. He doesn't try and play the world-class ball. He looks, who's playmaker. Somebody just should be in the middle, win the ball. When they come in, get your foot in, win it, play it.
Shea Charles last year. I mean, Shea Charles had the ability to do both, but that was his primary thing.
And do you know the sad thing about all this as well is right player, wrong time in a way. If we had a different regime now and we got a Shea Charles in the middle of the park now, who for me would love to be at Wednesday. He's sat in the stand watching his brother. I get it's his brother, but you know, I feel like Piers, regardless of whatever happens to Piers, I think he's got an affiliation with wanting to be at Wednesday. I noticed the other day he went like that when he saved a penalty, you know, and I thought a lot of players do that, but I actually think that lad means it. I think they all do it.
I agree with you, Paul. I'm now going to come on to my biggest bugbear of yesterday, because there was many, but this is my biggest one, because the silence at Hillsborough post the first 5 minutes was the loudest thing that was there yesterday. It was deafening. For all of the talk, for all of the posturing, all of the back the team, not the regime, I'll get behind them, I'll stand with them. For my money, they needed us yesterday, those players. And in particular, the coaching staff, the players need us as fans. They needed us more than ever, not for the money that we bring in at turnstiles, but for the vocal backing that we do. And I know this is difficult to hear, and this was the most sobering thought of yesterday. There was booing during a whistle processed. There was a smattering of anti-Dejphon Chansiri chants. By the 85th minute, you could see the man's name on the seats on the north. By full time, there was barely anyone left. There were reports of infighting between fans.
Yep.
That was not a cauldron of unabridged backing and support that those players need or got the week before at Leicester and Bolton. In fact, there was maybe 6,000 fans left at the end to clap players off. The players and the staff deserve better. We know this season's going to be tough. We know that's being kind. It's going to be a bin fire, to be extreme. We as fans, in my opinion, yesterday, let the team and the coaching staff down. There was a corner, and we mentioned this before coming on air. Barry Bannon, overhead kick, fantastic save.
Yeah.
Baz then picks himself up off the floor to go and take the corner, and he's having to throw his hands up to the cop to get some noise going. That should not happen again this season. There should be... I'm not saying you need Peterborough every game. That's unrealistic. But there is no fucking excuse for how apathetic, how everybody was sat on their hands yesterday. Am I being too harsh here, Paul?
No. Wednesday fans have got to stop fucking feeling sorry for ourselves.
Yeah.
You know what? Shit's hit the fan. Just fucking get a grip. You wanted Barry Bannon to stay. He's put his heart on the fucking line. He's took a massive pay cut and he's captaining the side of kids. Fucking get behind him. And I keep swearing because I'm with you, because I'm sick of it. I go and you know, come on. You know, you want success. Great. When we have success that we've not had for 25 years, I get it. But people are just fed up of it. And we get that. But for Christ's sake, you know, the band's too loud. I'd love to hear the band at the minute because I'm sick of the silence. It can't be great for the players. I'm with you, completely with you. There needs to be voices. They need to chant the Chansiri stuff. Why aren't they chanting it? Is it because they're scared of that television that he's got on, whatever these cameras are at the minute? Is that why? Just so what? Just you're entitled to your own opinions. And if you're there to support the club, fucking support them. They need it more than ever.
Because that was the thing that was the most sobering thing for me yesterday.
It's been creeping in for a couple of seasons.
It has. I agree with you. It has. But yesterday was the opportunity for people who weren't lucky enough to be at Leicester and weren't lucky enough to go to Bolton. Yesterday was the opportunity for those fans to go and celebrate and say thank you to players. We know it's going to be shit on the pitch. Yeah. We know the quality on the pitch is not necessarily going to be the standard that it has been, even when we were down in League One under Darren Moore. Yeah. We all know that. So why the fuck was everybody feeling so sorry for themselves yesterday? Why was... I'm happy to say the stand that I sit in, I am well aware that stand is never going to be the most partisan at all. It's not. It's the South Stand where people go, they sit. There's a lot of... I would say our older fans who sit on that stand who don't make as much noise, and there are a lot of dissenting voices from there. It was just... I sat there yesterday and thought there was an opportunity yesterday to create a proper atmosphere yesterday, to make it difficult. And the only people who made any sort of an atmosphere yesterday were the Stoke fans, who credit to them were fucking deafening throughout the game. I went to Stoke away last year, and Stoke were in the mire when we went to Stoke, absolutely in the mire. They were not a better team than us on the day. They ran away 2-0 winners because for 90 minutes, anytime they won a fucking throw-in, the whole stadium was up off their feet, getting behind them. I get that this might not happen on a Tuesday to Norwich. I get that this might not happen in February when we've got 9 points. But for the first game of a season where everybody has said we need to back these players, I'm going, you know, like even whether they feel particular way about the protest, I'm not walking through the park. What's that going to do? But I'm going to fucking back that team.
Yeah, well, this has come down to fighting. It's come down to fighting for your club.
Yeah,
you will sit there and go. Now, fair enough. I was pissed off straight away. I mean, obviously I wasn't there, but straight away, goal after 1 minute. But just find something. We're trying to save the club, and we're trying to support the players. So make noise. And it's all right saying, it's been going over. Yeah, we know it's been going for 25 years. It's no good fighting with yourselves as well in regards to, this is what we're saying about having one unified voice. If it's a protest that fans will listen to instead of sitting there going, that's rubbish. Because the danger here is, Matt, is like, I think it's been for years supporting this club. It's very, very, very easy now from this point for the fan base to go away from the actual nucleus of the problem and start criticising the pitch. Oh, he's not good enough. Well, we know he's not good enough, but that's not why he's playing, is it?
No.
He's playing because
Agreed.
of somebody who won't sell the club.
Yeah, agreed.
And you can hammer him and but you're hammering the wrong person.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because
we've done it for years. We've done it for years. We've done it for years. We've blamed the people. I remember going to watch Wednesday when Paul McLaren was playing, and it was woeful. And in the middle of the pitch, when they were booing the names, it was like boo. But those players were on the pitch because they wanted to be there, and they were trying to pull us out of the shit, pretty much like what we've got now. So support them, and the fighting amongst fans. It's just stupid, because that's why we're getting in this mess, because if you're going to fight with each other, all Chansiri is going to do is probably just go 1.
Yeah, and it's not something that I
hope I've not offended any fans.
No. And I mean, I don't take any pleasure in saying that it was the way it was yesterday, because I genuinely, you will not find, as a Sheffield Wednesday fan, you won't find a fan base who is more
when we're away
fiercely supportive.
Look
of
at
their
when we're
club.
away. When we're away, it's insane. It's like insane. It's just I think that everybody's just, and I get it, we get it. Everybody's just fed up of this current regime. They're fed up of it, and it's how do we? I've got friends who'll be dead quiet, but it's like, what do we do? They're trying to search every day. What can we do to, get our club back? And I think they get a little bit lost in it. And
I agree. I think it was just one of those things, Paul, yesterday where I was sat there, and I get that everybody feels really despondent, dejected, all of those things about it. I do understand that. And I understand that watching your side lose 3-0 on an opening day at home, like a home opener, is always going to be difficult. I really do. But if you are angry, direct your anger towards the one person whose fault this is.
Absolutely. If we start winning on the pitch, are we going to forget about it?
Yeah.
If we start winning on the pitch, is that it? Sorry.
Because it just reminded me, there was a time I think it was the second half, and it was before Baz's overhead kick and before we'd had a couple of chances where Liam Palmer cuts in, and then it's kind of him and Baz get mixed up. Just before that, we break, a cross goes in, and you could genuinely, I could turn to Andy, who I sit next to, and have a conversation with him. And I've not got to raise my voice. I'm not involved in it, and just talk to him about, I don't know, everything that's going on, or what's going on in his life, or is he driving back to Oxford this evening? Is he doing this? Is he doing? And I remember, I turned around and just went, "Hang on, I'm fucking part of the problem here." Like I felt there was a lot of people.
I think that's the problem, isn't it? People don't realise they're doing it because it's been, like I said to a friend the other day, I cannot emphasise what change, none of us can, a new ownership model to this club will do. Hillsborough will be transformed. The very same people, I've got no doubt, will be like, they're waiting for it for years. Some people for 8 or 9 years when they could first see all this stuff coming. I just feel that he's grinding down, but you can't let him win.
Yeah, you can't. And I don't speak for anybody other than myself. I think it gave me a reality check yesterday of actually, any time that there is an opportunity to vent frustration towards that owner, we as a Sheffield Wednesday fan base have to take it. Yeah. Anyway, before again, we won't get on to Disney away. We'll do that extra time, Paul. But we're playing them. I'm just going to highlight this one because Arthur is a Leeds fan who comes into the chat every week and he starts giving stick, and he said Wednesday 0, Leeds United 4. All I would say, Arthur, is you're missing a 0 off the end of that 4. To be perfectly honest with you.
Yeah.
I suppose. I'll go to the 3-word match review. We'll finish with that because I do think, Paul, the 3-word match review for the end of this episode is absolutely bob on the money, because we've been talking about it. All comes back to that one man. Just scrolling the 3-match review. Let's go. Mr. Bondosaurus, Chansiri, get out. Dave SWFC, all on you. DC, I'll let him off.
Yeah.
Gary Allsop, tuna bastard. Daz, poor stadium protests. James Vernon, plucky but inadequate. Scott Kane, Chansiri, get out. Big Jim, DC the prick. Mark Frost, one man's fault. South Yorkshire Owl, all Chansiri's fault. Steve, he's got to go. Kieran Unkin, Chansiri, the see you next Tuesday. 18 Sean SWFC. Fuck off, Chansiri. Caps in Uruguay. Chubby tuna. See you next Tuesday. I think there is enough in those there, and that is just a handful of them, mate. I think there's that there gives you a perfect insight into exactly how this fan base feels. And yet, I know we've covered the game for 40 minutes and we've dipped in and out of it here. But I don't think I'm wrong in saying, Paul, and please correct me if I am, at the moment, with every single discussion with Sheffield Wednesday fans, the football is going to be secondary. Yeah,
always. I can't help but think and get distracted in my mind process when you're saying stuff like that about Chansiri. What a absolute disastrous vanity project this has been. Yeah. We talked about bringing sponsorship from outside in earlier. What's on his shirt? His name. That's not his name. That's a different. What's on the stand? His name. Yeah. So has he ever really wanted to bring any of the money into the club? You know, by just hearing people's frustrations in the 3 words. Match prediction says enough, and it just gets everybody angry when they hear it, because we've all got that many points of this chairman, even going back to the simple statement of, if you want me to go, I'll go. Fucking hell, what do you want? How much more do you want? Do you want us to march through Thailand? Do you want a crowdfund to go to Thailand and start out at the Thai Union with planners saying, come out, tuna boy? What do you want? What more do you want? Yeah. You know, it's quite interesting, though, because the way I feel now, nothing would give me any more satisfaction than to see somebody of authority tell him, actually, no, sell it now. Because
we'll come on to that on extra time, just because we'll wrap it up now on the main show, folks. But what we're going to come on to talk about on extra time is we will talk about that window of opportunity that there is now for somebody to step up and purchase this football club before it goes to an open market. We'll also talk about the North Stand, and we'll touch on that a little bit, about some of the zip ties and cable ties and netting that was holding up speakers yesterday, and the running water situation, and kind of the trust statement that came out surrounding that. We'll also talk about the fact that there's the return of the 1867 group as well, as it appears to have come out of retirement. And we'll also talk about the EFL not allowing us to sign players. Paul, thank you so much for joining me tonight. I really appreciate it. And thank you so much, everybody, for joining us in the chat as well. I have really appreciated it, flying solo on this and having you, Paul, to guide me through it as massively.
Brilliant, mate. You've done brilliant.
First time I've done, obviously, a main show. So, James, I hope I've done you proud, mate. All right. Thank you so much for joining us all. Again, please head over to our Patreon. The links are in the description below if you do want more content. This week we've got it coming out of our ears. We've got obviously extra time coming up. We've got the Wrexham preview. We've got obviously the all of the stuff that goes up there from the previous couple of weeks. We had an interview with Jake from the 1867 with the Sheffield Wednesday Supporters Trust. Sorry, there is content coming out of your ears as a Sheffield Wednesday fan at the minute. Just a reminder that there will be no debate show this week because James is still sunning himself on a beach. There will be a preview show for Wrexham which will go live, but if you miss it live, it will then go onto our Patreon. Thank you so much for joining us all. I know that's been the longest outro that anybody's ever done on this show. Thank you so much for joining us all, and take care.